A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to some more Survival of No Limits. And so, for the rest of this entire time that I'm going to be right here in this spot, as you can see this whole entire background, a bunch of brush and vegetation right behind this bench. But, we're going to go ahead and talk about various other things relating to jobs that I've had in the past. And man, are they rather extensive. The types of jobs I've had were rather abundant, but yet they have in fact been guaranteed to give me the best financial support that I could have ever owned. So let's just go ahead and talk about this one time where I was in fact part of an organization, a restauranting group called the Schwabenhof German Biergarten. And this spot has been known to occasionally host certain parties, including the all-time Oktoberfest celebrations every October, of course. But occasionally there also comes along this fundraising season in late August every year. Because for the past several years, Patrick Heitman had got into a biking accident and has since then been in vast memory amongst many public residents inside of the state of Wisconsin. And this place has also been quite a big part in allowing for public employment of mine to build up to a huge, fascinating resume of all sorts. From April 2nd, 2016 to November 25th of 2016, over 7 full months had basically come by since I basically made my own first visible public employment ever taking place. And aside from many other things that have also taken place, you also got to really account for the majority of other things that have also taken place even before that. A lot of times paid work had pretty much come by, but as I've said in the last episode, that's pretty much just morally based on what my grandparents had basically given me. And even to this day, I still do have paid work with them. But with the Schwabenhof though, it was more of a thing that happened once a week, every Friday evening, where it tends to be the most busiest. Though of course there was at one point where I was able to get some extra hours on a Saturday night, pretty much. Especially after an Oktoberfest celebration had ended and a wedding ceremony was due to start at that point in time. So I was glad I was able to take up that opportunity when it was possible. But every other time it was just a Friday. My main jobs in there were pretty much variable. From assisting in the busing department, to washing dishes, to polishing metal, especially in the outsides of the building, to chopping up lemons with a lemon chopper, a custom like steel machine that they use, to making chocolate milk, or basically flavored milk by mixing the syrups together with milk itself, and sometimes other things as well. Though of course, it was mostly a lot of work in the kitchen that I had during that time. And let me tell you that to answer the question again about what it has to do with survival, it has a lot actually. It was a time, in fact, between April and November especially, where of course temperatures would rise up again. And throughout May, June, July, August, and even September, that was when temperatures were spiking up unbelievably high. And the kitchen there was not necessarily well ventilated, though aside from a large fan on the inside of the wall, that was pretty much about it. We could not necessarily get the kind of air conditioning that most industrial level buildings of all sorts would have, like department stores and hotels. So we were basically just stuck like that. I would typically get about 7-8 hours at a time, usually showing up between 4:30 and 11:30. But let me tell you, this one occasion where I apparently was violating child labor laws of all sorts. Because in October, an entire month before I would resign, I would in fact be there until 2 a.m. Yeah, no joke. 10 full hours of work. And I had no idea it was apparently that early in the morning right there. I had no idea I was working that long already. But of course, I'm grateful for the fact that I do have people around to let me know that it's time to go, because after that pretty much happened, well, that's when they started having a lot of limitations being set out on younger employees in that exact location. So, one little mistake I did apparently had cost a lot of things having to do with other people as well. So, Ultimately, I can't entirely be sure if it's supposed to be my fault or if it's supposed to be time's fault, because after all, the one thing I could truly justify about that was the fact that the clocks in that area were not working properly, and many of which were shut off, so I had no other way of telling time. I did have a smartphone, but unfortunately at one shift before then, I accidentally sat on it because I had it in a back pocket. And it was in fact a phone that was very similar to this one. It was a Galaxy S4, not S7 Edge like this one here, but above all that, my mistake apparently had cost a lot of things going on in terms of employment, be it part-time or full-time, in that exact restaurant itself. The Schwabenhof Beer Garden, it probably wasn't the best that I could have chosen, but it was good employment for the time. I was able to show up once a week, apart from that one other time where I was able to show up a second time in a whole week, just to assist in a wedding and an Oktoberfest session. And the fact that I was able to get a lot of experience in it, a lot of time pretty much, it does show a lot of potential in terms of what future employment opportunities could basically guarantee me. But, well, you know what? That's just pretty much that, because, well, the second I left the Schwabenhof, that night, on November 25th, 2016, the following morning would basically present me with an all-new job that I would in fact be a whole lot better at in comparison. So, we're gonna go get to that next time. But until that happens, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.